Good evening, traders. Tomorrow is going to be the last trading day of the week. With that being said, I'm going to prepare you to trade the best setups at the best prices heading into tomorrow. We're going to be going over the key make it or break it levels for SPY. I'm going to be showing you the best levels to be buying call options and the best levels to be buying put options for quick scalping opportunities. I'm also going to be sharing with you one stock that has gone parabolic that I am expecting to crash tomorrow and buy put options on. I'm going to be sharing with you the current key levels on the stock, confirmations I'll be looking for to enter puts for the bearish confirmations, and overall price targets heading into the day and my trading plan for that stock as of now. There's going to be very important updates heading into tomorrow during the morning in the middle of the day for these stocks and key levels, as things are going to be very volatile during the extended hours trading session. So for those of you who are in Trader Society, make sure that you stay up to date with those updates as well, because it's going to be very, very important, especially for the stock that I'm expecting to crash. So we're going to be going over the SPY and the stock that I'm expecting to crash that we're going to be going over. And I'm going to be explaining to you, of course, the key levels and the confirmations that I have to see, the reactions that I have to see in order to confirm that it's actually going to crash. It's going to be Sava stock. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to save that towards the end in the trading plan for that. But let's get right into it. So in terms of the SPY, I believe I'm on like a 7-day green streak now. The portfolio is up 1% on the day. I'm going to be showing you some key levels that you could have made some nice trades on today, kind of giving you a better understanding on how to trade the SPY. And I'm also going to be going over the new updated price action analysis levels. So in terms of yesterday's video, I told you guys the best level for puts was that previous support level. I told you that previous support, remember we had this triple bottom, and this triple bottom was at 382. That was the best level, 382. And then you had support right here with the big overreaction at 380. So basically puts between that 380.50 to 382 level was the best overall price for puts. Obviously the higher in price, the better. And you can see right here, during extended hours, that opportunity came. And I told you guys the first time it tests that key level, this is the line that I drew yesterday, that's where it should get crushed. And it did get crushed. Unfortunately, it was during extended hours trading session. But I mean, there's still ways to trade the SPY during extended hours trading session. You know, there's still ways to short this. But that ended up working out perfectly. And then the previous closing price. So always remember, when you see a strong rejection on the previous closing price, so I mean, look at the trend. The trend is so bearish. Previous support right here, it cracks, it rockets back up, turns previous support into resistance. That confirms that it's bearish, and it's going to go back to the lower end of the channel like it did and break down from that 380 because it's no longer support, now a resistance level. So when you see that previous closing price react as a resistance, you're going to want to look to play the puts. And if you look at the 5-minute, you have a very bearish trend reversal candlestick. So this was one of those opportunities where it made sense to trade towards the open due to the bearish confirmation if you were looking to do that. You had a very bearish trend reversal candlestick at the gap close reversal level. You can see the gap fill level, the previous closing price on the SPY was right here. And it opened up with a 5-minute trend reversal bearish candlestick key resistance, and that's confirmation to short. So just make sure you save those candlesticks at resistance. Remember, puts at resistance, and if you're doing calls, it's got to be on the key level and the key dips. I'm mainly focusing on puts because we're in an overall bear market, but if the trend is bullish, that's going to give you opportunity to scalp, right? You know, I'm scalping, I'm getting in and out. So, you know, it's not the biggest deal if I buy calls when the trend's bullish, even if we're in a bear market. But anyways, in terms of other confirmations and other trading opportunities, this was the gift. I mean, this was the true gift. When you see it retest the previous closing price, had a massive sell-off, bottom towards, I think, pre-market lows, and then you see an overreaction to the upside again, play puts at the previous closing price for the double top, play puts at the rejection. See, this is something that you really have to ask yourself. The market's about to close. This was just at 373 not too long ago. It rockets back to the previous closing price. And if you look what happened in the morning, it had a very strong rejection and hard sell-off very, very quickly and very volatile at that previous closing price. So odds are history is going to repeat itself. You know, what's going to be cheap here? Are the calls going to be cheap all the way up here at resistance where it's known for rapidly selling off like it did in terms of history repeating itself this morning? Or right before the market closes, is there going to be some sort of rapid sell-off at this key previous closing price, big sell-off potential level where it ended up doing that this morning? So put the odds in your favor. What makes sense? puts at the top at the previous closing price when you see bearish confirmation. Well, what would be a bearish confirmation? Well, the top wicks, look at the 1 minute candles. It hits previous closing price, and then you have lower highs. It reacts as this previous closing price at resistance, lower highs, and then the breakdown in your support right here is now a resistance confirmation to even add, right? So that was the main key play, man. I just want to, show you this so heading into next time that this history, use this confirmation of history repeating itself, right? So those were two potential put opportunities on the day that I want to bring awareness to. And then in terms of potential call opportunities, overreactions to the downside. We had a very nice overreaction to the downside at pre-market lows with big upside potential. So this is what I want you to be aware of. This is how in terms of where SPY can be heading. So like I told you in yesterday's video, the previous support is at 380 to 382. Big sell-off, and I told you, play puts when it goes back up because the previous support should react as a resistance. Overall trend is bearish. And that was a great opportunity if you were to do that during extended hours. And then if we look right here, where would be the next overall support level where the SPY is going to bounce to? So it's likely to bottom at these pre-market lows with big upside potential. And then where would be the overall next support level, right? It's not going to be at that 382 because we're in a much lower range, a much lower channel. So where would the overall next support level be? It would be towards that previous closing price. That's really where it'd be, towards that overall previous closing price. And eventually it did get back up there. So that's another key dip buying opportunity I want to bring awareness to. Now, let's get into tomorrow. What is the current game plan for tomorrow? So here's the levels that I want you to be aware of. First things first, let's go over the daily chart. How does this daily chart even look? It doesn't look bullish. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It doesn't look that bullish, but for the micro, we're kind of oversold and low within time, though, not right away. It's going to take probably like a month, but SPY is likely going to be at the 355 range within, within probably a month. But in terms of the micro, obviously it's due for some bounce. Does it look bullish? Not at all. Looking at the candlesticks, it looks like it wants to continue to drop. Now, heading into extended hours, this closed at 374.22. It's at 374.80. Small move up, small move down. So it hasn't really done much yet. So this is what I want you to be aware of heading into tomorrow in terms of your key levels. So the best possible price for puts is going to be at this 382 right here. We're going to call it 380 to 382. In between that zone is where you can look to start kind of scaling into puts. Now, another key level that I want you to be aware of is going to be the previous closing price, not today's closing price, but the one yesterday's. So this is going to be a key make it or break it level for potential puts if it looks bearish. 377.55 is make it or break it. That's a good level to play puts at. With a tight stop, don't risk much. Risk 50, 75 cents in terms of SPY moves 50, 75 cents against it, then look to get stopped out. So those are your two key levels for puts. Now, this is your key level as well, the previous closing price, $374.22, right? 374.22 is make it or break it, right? Oh, and by the way, I wanted to point this out as well. See how your support is right here, and then it cracks big downside potential. And then it bottoms at the pre-market lows. So where should SPY rocket back up to if it bottoms at the pre-market lows? Back towards that previous support right here at 376. And you could also say towards the previous closing price too, right? Just like it did during extended hours, right? We had this massive support right here at 380, massive sell-off, and then it rocketed back up to previous support, reacts as a resistance, right? So I wanted to bring awareness to that so you guys know the key levels that I'm really targeting for next time and how you can do it as well for yourself and how to read the charts on your own. But yeah, I wanted to bring awareness to that. But like I was saying, 374.22 is make it or break it. If that reacts as a resistance and that cracks, then we go back to 373.34. If 373.34 cracks, how low would we go? If 373.34 were to crack tomorrow, overall, we would be able to fill the gap. And there is a gap to fill, and this would be the best level for calls tomorrow at 365.68. That would be one key level we'll be heading towards. But you will likely see a bounce if 373 cracks, you will likely see a bounce at 370. You have a lot of support at this 370.30. If that support level cracks tomorrow, that would be one of the best levels to try to dip by. And then if that didn't work, then this 365.86. So if we're talking best levels, I would say 370 and 365.86 in terms of dip buying. Just be aware though, if this holds strongly tomorrow, we will start to bounce. If we, start to bottom at this 373, right? So SPY just broke down out of a massive channel. It could be something like this, where it just continues to bottom at that pre-market support, right? You could see right here, your support, your pre-market support, your support. It keeps bottoming at that support level, right? So this is pretty much day 2 where we've been sitting at this key support at 373.30. So that's make or break support. Now, I don't encourage puts at key breakdowns at pre-market lows. That's something I would advise against. I would tell you guys to focus on puts at key resistance. And if you're going to do calls, focus on key dips like pre-market lows, overreaction. This is a big overreaction to the upside. If it retraces quickly back to those pre-market lows, it should have some sort of reversal. And you can see that's a nice bullish trend reversal candlestick right there at the pre-market lows, right? First time overreactions. So what would be the, key overall reaction levels that we're looking into tomorrow? 380 to 382, best level for puts. 377.39 is another key level of interest. In terms of calls, you can see how it reacts towards 373. If that cracks, you're going to have to get out if you do decide to buy calls there. Best overall level calls would be 370 and 365.86. So those are my levels of interest for SPY. Make sure you're using confirmations. Make sure you're using the candlesticks that I showed you guys. It has to be a confirmation. It has to look like a floor if you're buying the dip. It has to look like resistance if you're buying the puts, at the resistance, right? And focus on the puts at the resistance and the calls on the dips. The best prices possible, the levels that I went over, right? And use very, very, for the most part, tight stops. If it goes 50, if SPY goes 75 cents against you, then just kind of get out of the position. So that's my thoughts on SPY. Now, I'm going to say this. I am currently a little bit more interested in trading Sava than SPY tomorrow. So I'm dedicated to the SPY. That's all I really trade. Now, I do have this gap strategy that not only do I use on SPY, but I use on stocks. And I will say there's about 2 to 3 opportunities in terms of best setups at the best prices, and in terms of not talking about SPY with stocks, where I'd really like to try and use this strategy. These are very rare opportunities, and this would be one of them. So this is going to be laser focused for tomorrow. We had members within Trader Society ask me what I thought about Sava when it was trading right here at about $43. They were asking me, what do you think about Sava? I told them, this looks extremely parabolic. I was comparing it to a bullish parabolic pattern to AMC when AMC went from $40 to $75. If you go back and watch the video that I made on AMC a year ago, I called out that parabolic move on perfect, and I did very, very well with out of money puts. I was buying, this was when I was using a different strategy. I was buying $70 out of money calls, the furthest strike with the closest expiration. I sold way too soon, but those went up over 2,000% within a couple hours. Absolutely insane. I literally bought them at the low. I remember I bought them at like 40 cents. They went to like $18. I changed one guy's life with those calls. And I made a video on that. And if you watch that video and you see the pattern that I was talking about, I'm going to talk about it a little here, but I made a video about it. And this was the same pattern. I compared AMC to Sava, and I said, this is the same pattern. This looks like it's going to have a parabolic move. This is extremely bullish. Do not short this. Do not buy puts today. I told people, if you want to short this, if you want to buy puts, look to do it tomorrow. And that's what I'm planning to do tomorrow based off this pattern that I'm seeing myself. So I called it out very, very bullish at 43. One guy made like $600 a couple minutes. And now I'm looking to call it out very, very bearish because the pattern is working. The history is repeating itself. So let me show you what it is that pattern is that I'm referring to. And if you go back to one of my first videos on YouTube, I literally called this out perfectly in terms of, people were waiting several months for this parabolic move on AMC, and I called it out perfectly to a T using this pattern. So I'm just going to go over some of the basics of it, but this was the overall pattern right here. So I'm just going to put it side by side to Sava, and you're going to see that there is a lot of similarities in terms of the chart and in terms of the price. So let me go over that here for you guys. So we have AMC on the left, and then we have Sava on the right. And I'm just going to show you and compare you these patterns, right? So this is what I'm seeing. You kind of have this big move up, you have this big move up, and then you have this like trend reversal red candle, and then you have like this trend reversal candle, and then what happens the day after? So Sava's already moving, it's already exploding, it's having a massive move in the stock price. And then what happens when it's kind of at resistance and it forms this like trend reversal candlestick? It forms this trend reversal candlestick right here. Obviously they're not identical in terms of the candlesticks, but you could see for the most part, right, if you were to compare these overall candlesticks, right? So if you were to compare this chart to this chart, you would say, wow, these look nearly identical. So what happens in terms of when does it really go parabolic? It goes parabolic the day after this trend reversal candlestick at resistance, a day after this trend reversal candlestick at resistance. So if you see it gapping up, you see it starting to move up, there's a good chance that it's really going to start to take off. And of course, the volume that came in. But I just found that very interesting, man, how history repeated very, very similar. Very, very similar, man. Very, very similar. I mean, this is crazy. A 36% move to the upside on Sava. I believe on this day, AMC was up like 95% from its peak. So yeah, it's pretty crazy in terms of the pattern. That's what I was seeing, and that's why I was overall bullish. I compared the pattern to other stock charts, and that's something I will always remember. I will always have that memory. I do the same thing with SPY. That's why if you get to know and trade one ticker, you're going to start to remember and see patterns for that same ticker again, and you're going to know how the price action works. You're going to have the comfort and the feeling of that price action. You're going to know exactly what's going to happen. And when history repeats itself, it tends to repeat itself very, very similar. So as long as you're using that history and that pattern, you'll be like spot on. People will be like, wow, how are you so accurate? How'd you get in at that best price? How'd you get out at such a good level? Like how'd you know it was going to go there? How'd you know it enter there? Like it's based off of history. It's based off of pattern and trend recognition. But I wanted to bring awareness to that. So what happens on the massive green day? This is what I consider the massive green day. I would consider this the massive green day. And then for AMC, I would consider this the massive green day. The day after, it has a nasty drop. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we can have a nasty drop heading into tomorrow. Now, how am I going to confirm that though? Hold up, I just pressed this by an accident. How am I going to confirm that this is going to have a nasty drop, right? So I'm going to tell you, the pre-market is going to be the big major key to really get a feel and tell if it's going to crash tomorrow. Based off the pattern in history, I believe it's going to crash. But again, I need the confirmation. I need reactions, right? I'm following this pattern. I'm following this trend. And if it aligns with what I'm seeing, it should crash. There could be an initial morning spike. There could be an initial gap up. There could be an initial move up. But for the most part, overall trend direction should be bearish for tomorrow on Sava stock, in my opinion. And you want to get out on the dip because I could easily see this ripping back up for a decent close. But overall, I think there's going to be a big move to the downside tomorrow on this. So the ways that I'm going to determine the crash are going to be the pre-market levels. I'm going to see, okay, where is the resistance in the pre-market, right? Where is the resistance in the extended hours? And then if it tests that resistance or if it's looking bearish, if it's forming lower highs, I'm going to play puts fairly early, right? I am expecting some sort of potential spike, so keep that in mind towards the morning. But overall trend direction, I'm expecting a big drop and then likely it recovers a little bit. So I'll get out towards, nice big drop quickly. Obviously extended hours and pre-market is what I'm looking for. It closed 51.59. Right now it's down in after hours. So that's another bearish sign for tomorrow. So 51.06. The previous closing price is at 51.06. So this will be the dead giveaway. I would look for it to go back. This is the best thing you can really do. It's gapping down right now, right? I would look for it to go back to 51.06. If it goes back to 51.06, I would wait for it to react as a resistance. So if it starts breaking out, it's looking bullish, I don't do anything. I wait for it to go green to red, right? If it starts off green on the day, then I wait for it to go red. If it starts off red on the day, then I wait for it to touch the previous closing price, go green, and then once it goes back to red, then I play the puts. Those are the two simple ways I would do it. So I would use that previous closing price. That'd be the number one recommendation, is that 51.06 level. That's the key make it or break it level. If I see it react bearish, if I see it do one of those two things that I just said, then I will play the puts. If it doesn't react the way I want it to, if it doesn't do one of the two things that I just said in terms of the gap up or gap down with that reaction, the green to red, red to green, then I will not play the puts, right? So you have to know what is that you're doing. You can't just blindly, short a stock into a key level without confirmation or without the reactions that I'm talking about. And obviously the candlesticks, right? Now, in terms of daily chart, I do want to go over this as well. In terms of daily chart, where's all the resistance? Let's see. We have a lot of resistance at this 51, a lot of resistance at 51 with big downside potential, right? If it breaks above 51, the next resistance level is going to be 56, right? And I'm not risking a lot. I'd risk like 1-2 points against me, right? But the point being is puts should be on track to print. Again, I have to use the confirmations, and this is the beauty of it. We have same day expirations on Sava stock. It's very rare to find same day expirations on Sava stock. And if you look at the puts, these are so cheap. These are so cheap, man. Look at how cheap these puts are. These are at the money puts. Look at the $50 puts here. These were at $12 this morning. They dropped all the way to $2.60. We get a nice little spike back to red. These will be in like under $2, man. They're going to absolutely print, man. So that's the game plan. I'm buying at the money puts, the puts closest to the expiration, and I'm going with same day put options, right? So that's the game plan. Now, in terms of swing trading, there can be an opportunity to swing trade puts. That's a little bit more complicated. I really don't even want to speak on that. This is meant to be a day trade. I am saying, though, there can be a situation where I swing trade it too. I'm not going to swing trade the day trade. I'm going to day trade the day trade. I never turn a day trade into a swing trade. It doesn't work. For swing trades, I wait until the last couple minutes into the close, and then if it looks bearish on the daily candlestick, I might play the puts. Depends on the play and setup. But that's something else on my radar. If in terms of swinging puts, if we get a bearish candlestick on the daily tomorrow, I could see it bouncing back. So that's the problem with it. But in terms of overall, if you were to hold it for weeks, I could see it going lower. That's my overall thoughts on that. So swing trading, I'd be extremely careful and you really have to know what you're doing. I'm not even going to like speak about swing trading. That's going to be like more advanced for like people within Trader Society. I don't even want to mention it on this video. But that's the day trading plan, man. That's the day trading plan. And then in terms of, Will, what would be the overall targets? So, I'm a scalper. I'm going to be getting in, out very, very quickly on this. In terms of targets, I would say if we have that bearish move at 50, 51 that I'm looking for, the overall target would be this 47.60, like 47.60 to 46.80. That would be the overall target, and that's a lot. Now, if it cracks 46.80, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath to like $44 to $43, right around that zone, and then you'll get some sort of bounce and rip back up. I'm not aiming big. I'm getting in. I'm getting out. If the trend flips bearish, I could just keep scalping it. And the way I scalp a bearish trend is I wait for it to pop back. So I'll take my profits out on key dips. So for example, this is a key dip where I'd be locking in some gains because I get in and out quickly. I don't hold very long. $47.60 to $47. And then if it cracks that support and has a nice drop, I wait for it to pop back up to the previous support, because the trend's bearish. And then when it hits the previous support, if it reacts as a resistance, I buy puts on the spike of the resistance when that previous support turns into resistance. And I take advantage of the trend. So I'm getting in and I'm getting out, and I'm getting in on the rips and I'm getting out on the dips when the trend is bearish. And that's what I'm looking to do on Sava stock for tomorrow. But I do believe there can be some sort of major reversal for call options tomorrow. Now, I'm not looking to play that because I'm very bearish for tomorrow. So I'm going to stay away from calls for the most part. I mean, if you were looking for a call move tomorrow, all I can really say is $41. $40 to $41, that's where I'd be buying calls tomorrow. If you were looking for some crazy move on calls, that would be the zone for calls tomorrow. But yeah, and who knows, I might do something there too, because this is key resistance. It had a massive breakout. So if it has a massive overreaction drop, that previous resistance should react to support. So that could be a potential level where I do buy calls, because at some point I can see some sort of recovery. But just know I'm super bearish, and that's how I'm planning to play it on the bearish side. And I'm telling you, in terms of Trader Society, I'm absolutely crushing it tomorrow. There is no way I don't have a nice green day tomorrow with what I know with Sava and with the SPY, but the main focus is going to be Sava for me tomorrow. Depends how the SPY looks, but overall, I'm really focused and excited on this play, and I'm going to crush it. There's going to be very important updates. It's going to be the real-time trailers. So if you do want to be a part of Trader Society, it's going to be that first link down below in the description. You get access to the live trading sessions that we do every single day. You will get access to the video lesson library where you get to learn my unique gap trading strategies that I use on stocks and SPY. You will learn how to master the SPY within this group as well. You'll get access to the networking opportunities within the Discord chat, where you can send me a private direct message, and along with the members within Trader Society, you can message them as well. If you want to surround yourself with the right group who is focused on mastering the SPY and who's focused on these unique gap trading strategies that I've created, this would really be the right price. This would really be the right place for you. It's a self-sufficient program. We're creating self-sufficient traders who are not looking to blindly follow into anybody's alerts, right? But who are looking to gain that education and experience that others have so they can utilize these strategies on their own and then bring awareness to them within the group. So that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to build and create self-sufficient traders who are very well educated with these strategies and with this unique price action trading strategies of scalping. We get in, we get out, take profits quickly, cut losses even quicker, compounding our account, pull out a compound interest calculator. You'll see literally 2% compounded daily is life-changing if you can consistently pull that off over the next year, even if you're starting with a little amount of money. But yeah, if you want to be a part of Trader Society, there's so much more to it. The chat room, the real-time trade alerts, the stock analysis, the watch list, the updates, access to the members within Trader Society along with me. It is going to be that first link down below in the description. As soon as you join, you get instant lifetime access to Trader Society. It is the best deal and option possible. I'm looking forward to working with you guys. I will see you tomorrow in the morning.